The Department of World Languages and Cultures at Georgia State University presents Arabic 1001 Grammar. In this first part of the course, we're discussing singular nouns and adjectives. In this fourth lesson, we're discussing roots and patterns, and this second section will deal with patterns. We've seen this before. Ma hadha, what's this? And our answer is hadha kitab, this is a book. Ma hadha, what's this? Hadha mektab, this is a desk. As we noted in the last section, these two words share the same three-letter root, kaf ta ba or ktb, which means to write. Let's look at another word from the same root. We're going to ask men hadha, who is this? And our answer is hadha katib, this is a writer. It's very evident that it comes from the same kaf ta ba root for to write. And here's another word from the same root, hadihi katiba, this is a writer. All we've done is taken katib and put ta marbuta on the end to make it feminine. They share the same kaf ta ba root, and therefore they have similar meanings, to write. But in this section, we're not looking at the root, we're looking at the patterns the roots go into. So men hadha, who's this? Hadha katib, this is a writer. And men dhalik, who's that? Dhalik talib. Katib and talib don't have the same root, but they do have the same pattern, and we can hear the cadence of these words. Katib, talib. They have the same sequence of syllables, even though they're using different consonants. In Arabic, we call this particular pattern the wazn fa'il. We looked at this in a previous lesson. Wazn is our word for pattern, and fa'il is the name of the pattern. We've replaced the ka in katib and the ta in talib with fa. We've replaced the ta in katib and the lam in talib with ayn. And we've replaced the ba in both words with lam. Fa, ayn, lam is essentially x, y, z, letter number 1, letter number 2, letter number 3. And wazn fa'il is what Arabic grammar names this pattern, the doer pattern, the person or object who is performing the action of the root. We learned in the last lesson that most adjectives share the same wazn or pattern. Kabir, saghir, tawil, qasir. They have the same cadence. The name for this pattern in Arabic is wazn fa'il. And we call it wazn fa'il because we've replaced the first letters in all these adjectives with fa, the second letter with ayn, and the last letter with lam. Wazn fa'il is the name of this pattern. We'll just call it the adjective pattern in English. We can ask ma hadha, what's this? And our answer is hadihi mektaba. Mektaba comes from the root kaf ta ba, to write. A mektab is a place where you write. A mektaba is basically the same thing with ta marbuta. Then we can ask ma dhalik, what's that? And this is a school here. Tilka hiya al madrasa. Tilka hiya al madrasa means this is the school. This is it, the school. And madrasa has the same cadence as mektaba. Mektaba is a place that you write. Madrasa, the root dal ra sin, means to study. So a madrasa is a place where you study, or a school. Both these words and mektab have what's called the wazn maf'al, sometimes maf'ala, the place where you do that thing. We've replaced the three letters, kaf ta ba and dal ra sin, with fa ayn lam to give it its name. This is the maf'ala pattern, the place pattern. Let's look at patterns more carefully. Al-wazn is our word for pattern. Wazn originally means a little weight, like you would put on a scale with two balances. Ultimately, it came to be our grammatical word for pattern. The vast majority of Arabic words fall into one of about 40 patterns. The wazn, or pattern, determines a word's part of speech, whether it's a noun, an adjective, a verb, and so forth. Words that share the same pattern have a similar relationship to their roots. So we have sajada and thalaja. They have the same pattern. Listen to the cadence of the syllables. Sajada, thalaja. It means something like the thing that does that root. So a sajada, a carpet, is really a kneeler, and a thalaja comes from the root tha lam jim, which means ice. So the thalaja is the ice maker, basically. We know the kaf ta ba root for writing, and if we put it in this form, mektub, it means written, or sometimes your fate. Mahfuz, also the name of a famous writer, is from the ha fa dha root for to preserve, and it means something that has been preserved. Let's review some of the patterns we know. We have the wazn fa'il, the doer pattern for words like katib for writer and talib for requester, that is student. We know wazn fa'il, the adjective pattern for words such as kabir and saghir. We know the wazn maf'al, sometimes maf'ala, the place pattern for words like maktab, a writing place and therefore a desk or office, and madrasa, a studying place and therefore a school. Spotting patterns can take some practice. Some are obvious, some rather less so, especially when the root has a waw or ya in it, because that makes a lot of funny things happen. But don't worry about that right now. Learn this. Arabic uses the root fa, ain, lam as the placeholder letters to name the pattern. So fa'il is the doer like katib or talib. Fa'il is the adjective like kabir or saghir. Maf'al or maf'ala is the place like maktab or madrasa. And here's a new one, maf'ul, the done to, where we put the meme at the beginning and the long vowel waw in between the second and third letters. So maktub is written, medrus is studied, matlub is demanded, and so on and so forth. So there's a fourth pattern for you. This whole system is a little bit abstract. When we use fa, ain, lam as the placeholder root, it can be a little difficult at first to sort out. So be sure to ask for help if you need it. But it's very useful, and once you get over the hump of sorting it out, it's extremely useful in expanding your vocabulary. In fact, let's expand our vocabulary right now. Here are some more words pertaining to urban life. Al-binaya is a building. Al-khadiqa is a park or a garden. Ar-rasif is the word for pavement, but is often used to mean the sidewalk as well. Ar-rukn is the word for corner and is a word we can use for an intersection between two streets. As-sayyara, from the word for to go or to march, is a car or automobile. Ash-shaqqa is an apartment or flat. It means something that has been snipped off or separated. Al-ishara, literally a signal, is a traffic light. And al-imara, something that has been filled up, is an apartment building or block of flats. We know that al-jidr is the root. Salim is our word for safe and sound. And to that we have added al-wazn. A wazn originally means a small weight, but is also our word for the pattern a word has. Now go back through your other vocabulary lists and see how many words you can identify that have the same patterns.